Hi, welcome to the Consumer Goods Show. My name is Tim Moore and I am the program manager at CoLab, a nonprofit dedicated to supporting entrepreneurship in the Chattanooga region. This year we partnered with Proof, a new incubator dedicated to supporting our local food and beverage industry to produce our third annual Consumer Goods Accelerator. As you know, the COVID-19 crisis has affected companies from just about every sector, but the food and beverage industry has faced possibly the most immediate negative impact. Companies in this space are facing everything from disruption in distribution to supply chain issues to trying to ensure safety for their team while also maintaining production. We quickly pivoted this year's program to address these challenges and connect these founders with the top industry expertise to help them pave the way for long-term success. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to the founders who participated in this summer's cohort. These companies have come a long way in recent months, and I can't wait for them to show you their products and for you to learn about their plans for the near future. Hey, so excited to introduce you to Christine Apthorpe with Alms and Fare. Alms and Fare makes treats, snacks, all these things that are delicious to eat, but also you don't have to eat with guilt. They're actually very healthy. And so anyway, here's Christine. Christine, thanks for joining me on here.
Hey Tim, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so tell me more about Alms and Fare. We got some of your products here. Like, what kind of is the inspiration behind this company?
Yeah, so Alms and Fare is a healthy bakery dedicated to making sweets simple with ingredients that are wholesome and delicious. And so some of our products include energy bites, cinnamon rolls, baking mixes, granola, along with a variety of baked goods. And so all of these treats are gluten-free, dairy-free, and naturally sweetened with all of the good taste still packed in. And another part of our mission is to help make healthy food more accessible, to alleviate hunger in our community, and to teach the importance of nourishing our bodies with good food. And so every time you purchase our products, we donate 10% of our profits to organizations that work toward these causes.
That's awesome. That's great. And when did you start this company?
So I started it in 2018. I've always been interested in the impact of food on our bodies, from the way it makes us feel with the energy it gives us, to this amazing ability it has to connect us to our community. And as I started to learn more and more about the ingredients that I was using when I was cooking and baking, and their nutritional profiles, I realized the difficulty in finding unprocessed foods that were free of preservatives, chemicals, refined sugars, especially in the snack and dessert world. And so that's kind of where the inspiration came from. I wanted to create a product that fulfilled these needs. And so in 2018, with this vision, I created the company with a mission to make delicious treats that you can feel good about.
That's great. Tell us about some of these treats you have here today. What are some of your flavors or different products that you actually create? Yeah,
so our flagship product was the Energy Bites. So we have 5 different flavors. We have cookie dough, cinnamon bun, strawberry, brownie, and chocolate peanut butter. So kind of like all of your favorite flavors and desserts created into a healthy treat.
That's great. And so now you've expanded beyond the Energy Bites, right? You're creating maybe some baking mixes. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, so we have a couple different baking mixes. We have our cake mixes, vanilla and chocolate. We also have a chocolate chip cookie mix. And for the holidays, we're gonna come out with a snickerdoodle mix, just to have people be able to make treats in their own home and enjoy that connection with their family.
That's great. And speaking of the holidays, obviously this is a busy season for a product like yours, and what's your sort of goals going into the holiday season, and then even going into 2021? What do you kind of envision for Alms and Fare?
Yeah, so for the holiday season, we'd love to do quite a bit of corporate giving, as well as have gift baskets online for people to purchase for their gluten-free friends. Everyone seems to have somebody in their lives that are either gluten-free or dairy-free, have some sort of food intolerance. And as far as 2021 goes, I would love to just continue growing our online presence and sales, as well as our wholesale footprint, both geographically and with larger retailers. I think that online shopping has definitely increased in 2020, and as much as we do want to focus on this, I think nothing can really compare to an in-person connection and selling directly to your consumers. And so in addition to those two things, we'd love to continue growing our direct-to-consumer sales in our own city.
That's great. And speaking of shopping, where can people buy your products now? Do you want to tell the people who are watching?
Yeah, so you can buy our products online at almsandfair.com to either pick up locally or have delivered locally. We also ship nationwide. You can also find our products at select retailers across Georgia and Tennessee. So to name a few, in Chattanooga, you can find a few of our products at Pruitt's Market, Local Juice, Nutrition Worlds, among many other places.
That's great. And so just kind of a final question for you. How can this entrepreneurial community we have in Chattanooga and this network, what can they do to support you in the near future?
I mean, the entrepreneurial culture in Chattanooga is phenomenal. I think it's shown through the CoLab program and all the work that you all do and the intention behind it. So I think the only thing that I could say is that I think we can all learn from each other, and I'd just love to connect with more of the entrepreneurs in this city and just continue to grow and pour into the culture here.
That's awesome. Christine, thanks for joining us today and bringing some of your products. We'll definitely be trying some once we cut off the camera, I'm sure. So anyway,
thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Next, we have Thomas Slough. He is the founder of Pulsed Foods. Pulsed Foods is a bean-based puff snack company. Thomas, he has a rich, amount of experience doing R&D in the food production industry, and so I'm excited to have him with us. Thanks for being on here, Thomas.
Hey, thanks a lot, Tim.
Yeah, so tell us about, before we get into Pulsed Foods, tell us a little bit more about your background, sort of your experience that brings you to now.
Yeah, so back in 2010, bottom end of the recession, the Great Recession, should I say, graduated college, got tired of bartending. I'm from Hanover, Pennsylvania, where Snyder's of Hanover Pretzels is based in, and there was a job available in food R&D. It sounded better than the bartending gig, so gave it a whirl. Spent probably at least a year and a half not knowing what the heck I was still doing. Learned a little bit more about the industry, and was grateful. I worked for some amazing leaders, some great team members that really got me into food processing in general, and working for a major company. We had Snyder's Lance was Snyder's of Hanover pretzels, Cape Cod potato chips, Lance crackers, Emerald nuts. I mean, you name it, we made it. And got to work on every single possible snack food you can almost think of. And it was kind of a great ride. Worked on all types of different stuff, and then ended up down here in Chattanooga in 2017. Worked for Moon Pie for 2 years, and just really got a good education on what food processing is.
Awesome. So why don't you tell us about Pulsed and what you're working on?
Yeah, so my tail end of my time when I was at Snyder's Lance, we were really starting to work on a lot more better for you type products, and beans really fall into that category. And we spent a lot of time, probably about 2 years, puffing these snaps, so extrusion process. Think about like Cheetos. And we're really starting to see that get mainstream now, those types of products. Not quite the quality that I think can be made and how we have made these in the past. So have a production partner already lined up, people that I've worked with in the past, and making these snacks going to be like a bean-based Cheetos, so navy beans and black beans, and your regular mainstream flavors like white cheddar, but also doing things like Thai chili lentil, and then also we have a Oaxaca style black bean, which has some different spices that you only find coming from like Oaxaca area, Mexico. So really want to have some bold flavors to help stand out a little bit against the regular nachos that you're seeing out in the world now.
That's awesome. Well, I'm personally very excited to try the products once they're available. So where are you at now, and kind of, what are your goals coming into the end of the year, into 2021? Can you share more about that?
Yeah, so actually we pivoted about a month ago with Pulse. We were trying to do some different types of products, and we're looking more at the soup market, just to get us off the ground and learn a little bit more. But I really know that the snack part is my passion, which takes a little bit more runway than what I would have needed with the soups. So right now we're looking at partnering with some marketing firms to rebrand and build some designs around what our packaging is going to look like and what the brand voice and strategy is going to be. That's going to be critical for us, especially since out in the marketplace, you have 3 seconds to catch your consumer's attention on the shelf. So we really need to hit a home run on that. I'm confident about the product. I told you, we've already made it, we've done it. I'm happy from that standpoint, but got to build a cool brand around this first. So looking to build a partner now and get that off the ground. We're going to have some prototypes that we're going to take as sales samples to some retail partners here at the end of the year, and then really hoping to get something on the shelf in Q1 2021. That's the main goal.
Awesome. I'm excited to see that happen.
Yeah.
Well, so why don't you tell those who are watching, how can this entrepreneurial community in Chattanooga and just kind of our food and beverage network we have locally, what can they do to support you and what you're trying to do?
Yeah, so that's one of the things I like about Chattanooga so much is the entrepreneurial startup type community, and that's one of the reasons why my family wanted to stay here. We're originally from Pennsylvania and love that piece to this, and I've already been connected with some awesome people. So right now, we're trying to get connected with some of these marketing design firms that we have here in town. We really want to stay in town. We're working with finding and working with some of these partners. So right now, getting some briefs out to some of those teams, but with that, there's definitely some startup costs that we need to cover. So right now I'm looking at different types of funding. So looking at applying for Kiva loans, working with TVFCU as well on some of those startup funding projects that we need just to get this off the ground. Definitely doing this very leanly. I definitely call us a lean startup, only the cost that we need. I'm not leaving my day job yet, but getting this kicked off here at the end of the year, just getting that funding going and kind of nailing down what the next step of that strategy is going to be getting in the marketplace.
That's great. Well, Thomas, so excited to have you here in Chattanooga, laying down roots here for you and your family and for your company. I think it's great. I think we're lucky to have you and the sort of expertise you bring to the table. I just want to give you just a quick little kudos and shout out for not only being a participant in this program, but also even mentoring other companies in our local area, because the type of experience you bring to the table is awesome. So just thank you for that.
No problem. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get into a program like this too, is I can't sit still. I'm always working on something different. I help coach wrestling over at McCallie. I've got my full-time job. I got Pulse going on. I can't sit still, and I like to work with other people too, and wherever I can support that. Being part of the entrepreneurial community, I wanted to join not just for me, but to help everybody else as well, because this is just a cool area, and the better we can do to raise that up, then I think we'll all be successful.
That's awesome. Thomas, thanks for sitting with us here today, and looking forward to seeing where you go in the near future.
Thanks a lot, Tim.
Thank you. All right, now I'm excited to introduce you to our next founder. We have Stephanie Steinman with Chime and Tea. She makes a delicious instant chai latte mix. I'm actually drinking some right now, and it's quite enjoyable. So Stephanie, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Tim.
Yeah, so tell us about Chime and Tea. What inspired the idea?
Well, years ago, I fell in love with the flavors of chai, but I couldn't find it in a decaf blend. And at the time, I had 4 small children, and getting sleep was important to me. So I came up with my own recipe out of necessity. I tweaked it and used a decaf black tea instead of a regular tea, and our recipe was born. So for about 10 years, we would make it and give it away as teacher gifts and holiday gifts to friends. And every year the response was the same: you really need to sell this stuff. It's so good. So raising 4 children, I didn't have time to sell tea. Fast forward to 2017, my life changed, and I found myself in need of some additional income. So we decided to sell some tea. We got a booth at the farmers market, and it's been wonderful ever since. We have our chai in several retail stores. We've got it in a couple of coffee shops around town, as well as the farmers market, and we have an online website.
That's great. Can you tell us about what we're drinking here today, more about this product? Is this kind of your flagship product?
Yes, so this is our original blend. This was the first recipe as a regular chai before we switched it up and made it a decaf. So it's been with us all along. We do still make a decaf for people who don't want caffeine in the evenings. We have also come out with a pumpkin spice blend for the fall. We make a wonderful hot apple chai mix that you mix with apple juice. And we have a gingerbread chai coming out for the holiday season as well.
Awesome. I'm excited to try all of those. I'm glad we're starting with this one. So you mentioned you can find your product at some coffee shops and some other retail stores as well as online. Can you tell, for those who may be in the area, what are some stores that can grab your product at?
Our first retail store was Locals Only, which is in the North Shore, and they carry a large variety of products made locally here in Chattanooga. Be Caffeinated, which is a drive-up coffee shop in Red Bank, and they're about to open their second location in the North Shore, so we're growing with them. There's Plum Nelly over on Fraser Avenue. There's Ice on the Landing carries our chai during ice skating season at their little food trailer. Adele's Creperie also serves our chai as a beverage, so we're sort of all over Chattanooga. We just took on a new coffee shop up in Dandridge, Tennessee, and a gift store in Harriman, Tennessee, so we're sort of expanding outside of the Chattanooga area now.
That's great, yeah. I think, just from what I'm tasting and smelling, and I love the packaging. It makes a great holiday gift. What's your kind of hope for your company going in the holidays, and then what are some of your goals for maybe even 2021?
Well, our hope for the holidays is to survive the season. As you know, this is the fall season. Hot beverages are all the rage. We have just partnered with a local candle company, and she came up with a signature chai candle. And we are looking to partner with a ceramic mug company to come up with a signature chai tea mug.
Great.
So our goal is to bring in some other entrepreneurs who have products that complement our tea, and then we all benefit when one of us has a company. So she sells my tea in her candle store, and I sell her candles at our farmers market. Everybody wins.
That's great. That's great. And speaking of, it sounds like you're open to some collaborations with entrepreneurs. What can just the rest of the entrepreneurial community do to support you here in the near future? What kind of support are you looking for?
Well, continue to keep drinking our tea, continue to keep giving it as gifts, continue to talk to your coffee shops and tell them you need to get Chime Tea in here because your customers would love it. Just continue to spread the word at this point.
Awesome. We'll be sure to do that. Well, thank you, Stephanie, for coming in here and chatting with me and also giving me a complimentary cup of chai tea.
Absolutely, Tim.
Yeah, awesome. You all make sure to look for it this holiday season. It makes a great gift.
Cheers.
Cheers. Absolutely. Awesome. So next, I am excited to introduce you to Brandon Ellis. Brandon has been a longtime friend of CoLab. A lot of you have probably, if you're from the Chattanooga region, have tried his barbecue at different events or his retail shop he's got. And Brandon has been working with us this summer because he just launched a line of rubs that you can actually use for your own home barbecuing. So Brandon, thanks for coming.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So first, let's back up a second. When you're obviously a total pit master, right? That's the phrase you would use?
Yeah. That's the goal. That's the goal.
That's the goal. You're definitely there already. Well, when did you really get into barbecuing? Like, when did that passion start?
As a kid, I was, around barbecuing a lot. My uncle and my granddad raised hogs and tobacco. So occasionally my uncle would fire up his pit, put one of the pigs on, and I just remember a lot of socializing with family and friends going on around barbecue. So I've been around it for quite some time. I really took a passion in cooking barbecue the last, probably 8 to 10 years, and really dove into it 5 years ago for full time.
That's great. That's awesome. And so is that 5 years ago, is that when you started up CHATTERBOX Cafe?
Yeah, I started CHATTERBOX in 2015. And prior to that, I fooled around, on the smoker with different things. But 2015 is when it really got serious.
Awesome. And what's kind of like, what do you think is your bread and butter is the type of barbecue you do? Or what's your personal favorite?
My personal favorite is my brisket.
Brisket.
We sell a lot of brisket. Brisket it's kind of the cut of meat that people use to determine, what kind of cook you are. There's a lot of ways to cook pork and chicken rather easy, but brisket is one of those things where it's not as forgiving as most cuts of meat.
That's great. So tell us about this line of rubs you started. When did you start actually producing and selling these?
When I originally started my business in 2015, I handmade all my rubs. You know, the thing is each batch was different because it wasn't like a lot of it made at one time, and you know that lasted for a while. And then as I got into barbecue and YouTube, I kind of got into the whole Texas barbecue with the SPGs, the salt, pepper, garlic rubs. So that became my base rub for cooking. You know, for 2 to 3 years, all I used was SPG on my ribs, my briskets, my butts. And what that did was that allowed me to focus on the quality of the meat. Salt, pepper, and garlic are the basis of all of our rubs. They're the base of most barbecue rubs in general. So the fact that I started with the base and learned how to cook the meat and achieve the proper tenderness, the proper doneness. Once I did that, I began to step it up a notch as far as rubs. I started buying competition quality rubs, and you know, it was fairly expensive. In March or so, COVID hit, and we were buying aftermarket rubs, and they became, you know, scarce. We couldn't get them, and we had kind of built, you know, our recipes around, you know, buying rub. So I sat down and pulled up the recipes that I used before, incorporated the SPG that we had come accustomed to, and created a line of rubs for each of our meats. Like I say, the SPG is our all-purpose, and each of our rubs have the SPG in them, but they also have different profiles to help take whatever meat you're cooking to the next level.
Great, that's awesome. And tell us about one of maybe. Do you have a favorite among these rubs you have today?
Yeah,
or maybe what's the most popular?
My favorite is the brisket burn-in rub. It's SPG based. However, you know, the flavor that it puts on the brisket when it's cooked properly, it has a little bit of brown sugar, gives it just a little bit of sweet. It's got the herbes de France. It has a level, a profile that's kind of it's almost gourmet, you know, but I just like everything about it, and mainly because when I cook the brisket with it, that smoky flavor pairs very well with it, and the brisket is juicy and tender on the inside, and we call it the burn-in rub because it puts a nice bark on the burn ends when you put them back in after trimming the brisket. It gives it that sweet, tacky type flavor. So that's why we call it the burn in, but it is our brisket rub.
Gotcha. Man, I'm getting very hungry just sitting here chatting with you about it, but I'll try to stay on topic. So, you know, clearly, I mean, you're a very humble guy. Brandon, for those of you who don't know him, is like, you go out to these, you know, regional, national competitions, and you win at those competitions too. So I think it's great that you've created this line of rubs that can bring people that level of flavor that you've already been making for so many years. Have you seen during the pandemic, with people maybe being at home more, not going out to restaurants, kind of not to you know, have a pun, but to be hungrier for really what they can get outside? You
know, with people being you know, at home with the pandemic, it has greatly impacted our business. You know, a lot of people got away from going and sitting down in restaurants because of the social distancing. And with us having the mobile setup, it has allowed people to feel extremely comfortable, you know, walking up to the truck, ordering their food, taking it back home, not having to be around a lot of people. It's also increased our sales in our spices because, you know, people have more time on their hands, so they're at home more, and, you know, you got a grill and time, you want to put them to use. And the products that we carry, like our rubs, you know, really help, you know, every weekend warrior elevate his game.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, people are finding all kinds of hobbies, whether it's, there's kind of sort of a joke in the beginning, whether it's sourdough bread, people getting into gardening, and people definitely getting into grilling now that we've had such a great year of weather. Well, awesome. So tell us, what are some of your goals or vision going into 2021 for, yes, CHATTERBOX, but also specifically with this line of spices and rubs? What's your kind of goals there?
My goal with this rub is to get it in front of people that have a passion for cooking, whether indoor, outdoor, and really show them what can be done with the rubs. My main focus that I can do right now is get into more competitions. When I get into the competitions, it puts me around guys that do barbecue. It gives me the opportunity to hand out samples of product and meat to show people what it can taste like. We also we get a lot of referrals for our catering through competitions. Spectators come by, whether it's to see they see the trailer or the truck, they taste the product, they inquire about weddings, they inquire about corporate events. That's kind of my focus with the sauces. With the rubs is to get into more competitions, get into some shows, trade shows, or places I can showcase my product, do demos. I really feel like we have a platform with our grills and our trailers to really do a lot of product demonstrations for people willing to carry our product. I think it really affects the sales when people see the end result. And you also give them the knowledge and the comfort and the ability to know that they can pull it off at home. So that's kind of my main focus for 2021 is getting it out there in front of the people that can really benefit and potentially purchase the product.
Awesome. Well, Brandon, thanks so much for sitting down with me and showing me all the products. We'll have to try some later.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll be able to come by the shop soon and try it.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
All right, I'm excited to introduce our next founder from this program. We have Brianna Garza with Chat Taste Food Tours, and she has actually recently launched a new product called her Taste of Chattanooga gift boxes. So Brianna, thanks for being here.
Thank you. I'm elated to be here. I feel like I've learned so much through this program. Like, I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm ready to tell people about what we're curating.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and dive in. So what do we have here today?
So what we have is I think I want to tell the story, the backstory of the why. I think that is the most pivotal response, and that's what I want people to understand most about this line, is that, I think that the future is local and the time to act is now. But I don't know that people know how to support the local economy or what products they like. We are on this grandiose mission to replace a national brand with a local brand in every Chattanoogan's kitchen. And the only way to do that is to let people know what's available and to make it accessible and to, give people the opportunity to try these amazing products, because what we have available in Chattanooga is absolutely phenomenal.
That's awesome. And as someone who helps run a consumer goods program, I wholeheartedly agree. So I'm glad to hear we're on the same page on that. Why don't you show us some of the products that may be in this box here. Tell us about how this works.
So I kind of want to talk about the why, and the products kind of tell that story. This box is an assortment of local consumer good products in Chattanooga. You have everything from your bitters and information on how to use those bitters. You have your barbecue rubs, your chocolate, your cookies, your coffee, your chai teas. There is something in this box for everyone, and I think that's important, that there is a taste of Chattanooga that is appropriate for every household. But something that I did want to mention is that, I get asked all the time, how do you go from food tours to this local consumer goods box?
Yeah.
And, like millions of Americans, my background was in nonprofit management. I was an essential worker as well as running food tours, and I was, one of those 8 million Americans that lost their job due to COVID. Mm-hmm. And, when I run into people, when we talk about it, we all want to support the local economy. We're all in this together. And when I think of the food and beverage industry, my heart goes out to them. So this is an opportunity to get a sampling of all of these consumer goods so that people can truly support the local economy and find their favorites. There's going to be products in this box that you didn't know existed in Chattanooga. You're going to get products in this box that are already your favorite that you are getting reintroduced to. I mean, there's truly no wrong. And what we want to truly translate to the public is that call to action, how to support. If you like one of these products in this box, information on how you can support that local company. So you purchase the product once, the box once, but you purchase the items within the box in perpetuity. That's our goal.
That's awesome. Yeah, I want to back up a second because you mentioned your food tour company, and for those who may not know, talk to us a little bit about that. Chat Taste Food Tour, you launched a couple of years ago. Obviously, pandemic has shifted so much, and especially in the restaurant industry. So just tell me a little bit about the food tour company and what the last several months, how you adapted to these changes.
So most people know me as the Queen of Cuisine.
That's a great title.
No one calls me that. I call me that. But Chat Taste Food Tours is a way for you to experience multiple restaurants in a single evening. Pivot-wise, we've gone through a lot of changes, just like every local company in Chattanooga. And I'm super transparent about what we've gone through. We went about, 2.5 months with no revenue. Like, forget profits. We're not talking profit margins. There's no revenue, zero. And it's rough. And, but when you're open and you're transparent and you get to like other companies that are going through the same thing, you have this hoorah moment, like you can do it. And so we've kind of gotten over that hump of, just being stoic, nothing's happening. And I think the city has been super supportive of us. We are doing food tours again. We are honoring not only CDC guidelines, but the Tennessee Pledge, which is a set of rules and guidance that kind of oversees the industry. Masks are required on all tours. We're utilizing patio seating. We're doing small group only. Like, we're doing our best to keep people safe, and we're taking guest feedback. We want to know what we can do more to ensure that there's safety on every tour. We're giving out individual hand sanitizers. We're making additional stops for sanitation and hand washing. But there's always a suggestion, and we embrace those suggestions wholeheartedly on how to keep that process as safe as possible.
That's great. It sounds like you're incredibly considerate about every step of the process, which I think many of us definitely appreciate. Something I'd like to ask for these boxes: what are kind of your goals going, especially in the holiday season, 2021? What's kind of your vision for all of that?
So our plan for the remainder of the year is we really want to focus. My background as an essential worker is to give back to that sector, gift giving. There are so many board members and staff that really have answered the call in terms of showing up and providing services during this pandemic. I see this as that thank you. Thank you for putting the safety of others, and putting yourself in these roles where you could contract this deadly disease, but you understand the mission of your organization. You understand that you're here to do a job, and you are that gift, and this is the thank you for that service. In January, we do plan to take this box and offer it as a subscription service. So as assorted as the box is now, we're going to start theming those boxes so that every month, if people sign on for this box, they get different local products they can utilize based on holidays, different themes that are happening throughout the year. But right now, the focus really speaks to my heart, is really focusing on that corporate gift giving and just saying thank you to those staff that show up every day and do the hardest job.
Yeah, and I just want to emphasize that again for everyone who's watching, that if you're a team leader with any size company and you're looking, as Brianna says, a way to really show appreciation, this is clearly a great way to not only show appreciation for your teammates, but also for kind of our local Chattanooga economy. So I'm so excited that you came on here and showed us what you have to offer, and hopefully we'll see more of these around Chattanooga as we go in the holiday season.
For sure.
Thanks, Brianna.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Hey, so excited to have Brad Swansea here from Riverview Farms. He heads up their milling operation over there and it makes such a lovely amount of different corn products from the non-GMO corn they're growing over on there on the farm. And yeah, just excited to have you on here today, Brad. Tell us a little bit more about the kinds of products you make and how these products are made and just how we can support you. So thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, and it's good to be here. My family has owned the farm since around 1975 or so. I've been milling for maybe 10 to 12 years, something like that. So we specialize in growing corn that we mill, growing corn specifically for milling, several different varieties. And this year we had a red corn and a white one, and we do have some yellow that I don't have here, but we grow all kinds. So every year is different. You never know what you're going to end up with, and you never know what you're going to plant until next year's planting season. But it's kind of an involved process. You plant it, you hope for the best. Once you get it harvested, which is about this time of year, and then you start the milling season off with the taste of fresh cornmeal and grits. And we always grow some popcorn as well. So we sell to restaurants in Atlanta, Chattanooga, and surrounding areas.
Yeah, if you go to pretty much any sort of restaurant that seems to support farm to table, especially in the Chattanooga area, I've seen your grits on the menu at places like the Flying Squirrel, and just obviously speaks for the quality of product that you produce. So you were talking about the different kinds of corn. I noticed this one right here kind of has a bit of a pink hue to it. Can you tell us a little bit about that and why that is?
It is from the corn breeder that I got the white and the red from this year. But it's two different corns, same corn breeder. The red is kind of similar to a popcorn, Flint variety corn, which is a harder outer. Looks similar to popcorn. The white is more of a dent corn, which is indentured on the top. But it's always somewhere in between those two corns. But
Gotcha.
But it's all about the grind. There's different ways to grind it. It's all stone ground and it's all fresh, and that's pretty much what you're shooting for.
Okay. And so is that you would say that kind of distinguishes you from maybe what else you would find on the grocery store shelf when looking at
we hope so,
grits
yes.
and cornmeal?
Right.
Yeah.
It's at least milled every week, and from fresh corn until the summertime gets here, and then that's the season where I appreciate selling to distilleries. Once the summer gets here, it's you have a storage issue. You have to refrigerate more, and just issues with the bug's life, really.
Okay.
So
yeah. Well, tell us. You've been in harvest season. You're packaging a lot of products right now. What are kind of your hopes for going into the holidays, and then even kind of beyond that? What are your goals really in 2021 for this side of the business?
I think moving it in not so much selling a lot more, but moving a little bit with it within an e-commerce channel to help navigate me not having to take them everywhere, or we deliver to multiple places and we do markets, and one thing I mail them out right now, but it's just I need to streamline that is my goal, is to streamline the whole e-commerce channel and be able to back up a little bit from that and have an easier time moving product.
Yeah. And that's something we've talked about you're moving towards right now, and that's important for you, is for people, they find this product, let's say at a restaurant, that they love it so much they want to be able to get it themselves. You want to simplify that process for them.
Right. And within we sell to some centralized locations that kind of different retail outlets, not so much a store maybe, but different butcher shops around and places like that where you can, you want to have them.
So Brad, to kind of close this out, what maybe are some types of connections or relationships or anything you're pursuing to help grow your business here in the near future?
We are open to partnering with more distribution sources and more retail partners as well, and more distribution. You know, anything that helps take so much of a burden off of trying to deliver a product in your own time frame. It would utilizing other resources and opening new channels for moving product is the 2021 goal.
Yeah,
Yep.
That's great. Well, Brad, thanks so much for sitting down with me, showing off these products. As I mentioned earlier, before we were filming, that I definitely want to actually try making some real popcorn on the stove sometime. So I'm excited to give that a go. And
Popcorn is every year you never know, and sometimes I'll do a multicolored blend. It's this one is a hybrid popcorn from the Johnny's catalog, but I always plant some other colorful corns somewhere in the vicinity to try to get a little bit of color mixed in. So,
that's something very unique you don't just find everywhere. So y'all make sure to get that ahead of holiday season. And Brad, thank you.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for
appreciate
having me.
Yeah. Hey, I'm so excited to introduce you to our next founder. We have Lakecia Irvin. She's the founder of Mo Lemonade, and here is Lakecia. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so tell us about Mo Lemonade. We have some of your flavors here. What's kind of the inspiration behind this product?
So Mo Lemonade actually started out as a fundraiser to fund my son's ballet career. He is a dancer right now at Alabama School of Fine Arts. He got into the Juilliard Summer Intensive, and his goal is to go to Juilliard for college. So we started Mo Lemonade for that, and it kind of just turned into people were enjoying it so much that we decided, let's go to the next level with it. And we are currently just trying to get it in stores and different places, bars, taking it to the next level as his career goes to the next level.
That's great. That's an incredible story. Yeah, you were talking about getting it into bars and stores. Understanding that bars have also sold this as almost kind of something to pair with to-go drinks. During the pandemic. Can you tell me more about what those sorts of things have looked like?
So it pairs well with basically any alcohol that you want to add to it, or you can drink it as a refreshing lemonade. Mm-hmm. You can do frozen drinks with it. We also sell it frozen in pouches. We call them slush pouches. Okay. Most slush pouches. So it's all around good beverage to have.
Yeah. I think I saw some people in the summer walking around the south side with those pouches, and I think that's such a great idea. And you've done some other pop-ups as well. What are some other pop-ups you've sold at?
So we've done Sherman CBD on Main Street. We've done pop-ups with Gate 11 Distillery. Okay. We've done some stuff with J.W. Kelly Bourbon. And just anytime anybody asks us about doing a pop-up shop at events, or we do weddings, just different events around town.
Okay, that's great. What are some of the, so we have a few different flavors here. Tell me about, what would you say are one or two of your favorite flavors, or what are kind of customers' favorites?
So our customer top favorite is Drip. And then the next favorite would probably be Orgasmic, and then we have a Chronic and a Foreplay.
Wow, those are some names. Those are some names for some beverages, for sure. Definitely some adult beverages. Yeah. Which one is which? So I'm looking at here. I see that we got Chronic, yeah. Envy.
Yes.
And then this blue one is Drip.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
And then this one is Chronic also.
Okay.
And then we have a Trap Juice.
Yeah.
So those are kind of quirky names that we came up to kind of make people enjoy drinking it and laugh while they're drinking it.
Yeah, I think just looking at these, the packaging looks great. The colors are so vibrant. I can see why anybody would, grab this at an event or grab it off the shelf, especially on a hot summer day. So I think these are great. What's kind of your goals for Mo Lemonade going into next year? What's your kind of vision for it?
So by the middle of next year, summer, we want to be on at least a couple of convenience store shelves, and we want to be in at least 50% of the bars in Chattanooga, so that you can grab a refreshing frozen lemonade with your favorite alcohol in it.
Okay, that's great. And just one last question for you. What, are you looking for any particular kind of connections or support right now from the local business community? Is there any ways that they can support you?
We are we're currently looking to get a co-packer. We need a distributor and people to buy from us.
Okay.
For their corporate events. We can bring gallons in.
That sounds great. That sounds simple enough for me. Well, I actually, Lakeisha gave me my own here, so I'm excited to pop this open here in a second. But Lakeisha, thanks for sitting down with us, some of your products, and excited to see you hit hopefully more shelves here in the near future.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so excited to introduce you to Meg Brazel. Meg is the founder of Trail Drops, a company that produces nutrition for the trail. Meg, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so tell us about what is Trail Drops, what exactly is it that you create and produce, and what's the inspiration behind it?
Well, so Trail Drops is an outdoor nutrition company, and that means we make meals for people to use outdoors, so backpacking trips, overnight biking trips, things like that. Basically, they are grab-and-go meals that come in a pouch, add boiling water, wait 10 minutes, you got your dinner. Been doing this since 2015, kind of started getting some recipes together. 2017, went online with a website, been selling since then. The inspiration behind doing it was that my husband and I and our kids have always done a lot of backpacking. So we would get ready to go on trips and realize, we needed to go to Whole Foods to buy a little bit of dehydrated this or that, because you want your meals to be lightweight. You don't want it can't be refrigerated, can't spoil. You want it to taste good. You want it to be nutritious. And so we were spending a lot of time kind of trying to put together things that tasted good and were lightweight. And I told my husband, I said somebody would pay for this. And I just kind of got into developing some recipes and spent a couple of years doing that. Took a business class with Launch. Taken a couple classes with Collab now, and I've had a lot of help from a lot of people along the way, and just kept plodding forward, and it's been fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. We love working with you in the program. You're talking about recipes, so why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the products you brought today, and kind of what's involved with them from a production standpoint, and what people can find in them.
So some of the items, some of the ingredients we dehydrate ourselves. We have a kitchen here in Chattanooga, so you can see green beans in this. I actually dehydrated those a couple days ago. Some of the things we purchase pre-dehydrated or freeze-dried, so we tend to use freeze-dried fruits like our cherries, blueberries, apples. Those are freeze-dried. They just do better than dehydrated when you reconstitute them. But all of our vegetables, all of our grains are dehydrated. So our rice is dehydrated. Our pasta, we cook our pasta ourselves, put it in the dehydrator, wait for it to dry, pack it in the bags. Our best seller is the angel hair pasta with red chili peanut sauce. So the peanut sauce, we make that in a KitchenAid mixer, put it on dehydrator trays. That dries for a couple of days. That's kind of our most labor intensive. And then we combine them into meals and bag them up. Each meal is made individually in a bowl, dumped into a bag, and so it's real, small batch production right now.
That's great. And you can actually, by the way, eat from the bag. So this one right here, this angel hair pasta, you actually have hot water in there right now, and it's reconstituting, right?
Exactly. So I put them here so that people can see, but typically one bonus of being able to eat from the bag if you're on the trail is not having a pot to clean up, not having a bowl to clean up. So we do typically use like a jet boil or another camping stove, and you just boil water in there, so you don't have anything to clean. It's just got to dry. Pour it straight in here, let it reconstitute for about 10 minutes, and you got supper.
That's great. And so these are a few different product offerings, obviously, and recently you started doing kind of some packages for those who maybe do a full weekend of camping. Can you tell us about those?
Yeah, so we have a couple packages. We have something called the Weekender, so that would be 2 dinners, 2 breakfasts. We have a variety pack where you get 1 of each dinner plus a breakfast. Our breakfasts right now are 3 different oatmeals. So looking forward, I'm interested in making like a more savory breakfast, like a cheese grits or something like that. But we have our 3 oatmeals, we have 3 dinners, we have cashew curry, angel hair pasta with red chili peanut sauce, and then a spicy beans and rice.
Okay, that all sounds delicious. I'm actually kind of getting hungry thinking about all this right now. So what I wanted to ask you next is, where can you find these products?
So definitely you can find them on our website, traildrops.com. Everything's there. And then locally in Chattanooga, you can find them in several of the Rock Creek locations. You can find them at the Chattanooga REI, and then we have them at a few out-of-town locations too. That's
great. That's awesome. Yeah, if you're ever in the Chattanooga area, there's plenty of stores you can stop by. Of course, you have an e-commerce focused store as well. Mm-hmm. So what are some of your goals for Trail Drops kind of heading into holidays and into the new year? What's kind of your vision for it in the near future?
So one thing that I like about my business is that winter is kind of downtime. And so it gives me a chance to kind of refocus, to catch up on tasks I've been wanting to do. But I mentioned that I'd like to have a savory breakfast. I'd also like to have a cream-based dinner, like not a fettuccine Alfredo, but something along those lines of something that's kind of creamy. When you look at different backpacking meal companies, including mine, you find a lot of things that are tomato-based or bean-based or things like that, but you don't find a lot that has a cream base. And with milk powders and butter powders that are dried, like I could totally do that. So looking forward to adding those kinds of things. I have a hummus that I'm going to bring to market in the spring, and that's just add room temperature water, so that's nice. Like for lunch, you don't have to boil water. So some new product offerings. I'm also redoing my website over the winter. Got some new pictures made. Gonna try to just kind of take it to the next level. This was the year that we got permitted for retail, so it's my first year to get big orders, and it's been a year of figuring out how to do production on a larger scale. So I've kind of got that down, and so I feel like I'm going to move into the spring kind of full force on production, and I want to get more polished with some of my products and my website.
That's great. That's awesome. And you were talking about those retail relationships you've been building. Is there any sort of relationships you're looking to seek out here in the next several months, as far as looking for maybe more retail partners, or wanting to focus more on e-commerce? What are you hoping to maybe get?
I really want to build my online customer base. I really, I'm looking to see, are those retail relationships going to turn into me getting busier with people just coming to make orders? And of course, because margins are better when you sell online, I'm hoping to build that. But at the same time, I would like to add like one REI at a time. It's real. I'm in that stage where I'm still small enough that I'm a little bit afraid of getting big. I don't want to add 5 REIs at a time, but one at a time, and then watch myself grow like that.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I think that you've answered a lot of questions. What I'd love to see kind of to wrap up is, if you want to, is that angel hair, do you think it's ready yet? Or does it need
I
a
think
little
it's
bit more
probably
time?
ready. Let me take a peek.
Okay. How's it look?
It looks pretty good. The top isn't quite done, but we're just going to stir it around, and we're just going to try it anyway.
Okay. Now, Meg warned us before that sometimes once they're cooked, they're not the best looking, but they look delicious from here, so trust me.
And can you smell it? Doesn't it smell?
I can definitely smell it. Sorry that you all can't smell it.
All right. So like I said, this would be probably eaten from the bag. This is one of those that you don't know if you need a fork or a spoon to eat it with. But basically, if I hadn't been talking, I probably would have been squeezing the bag every now and then a little bit more to get that peanut sauce distributed better. But we've got jalapenos in here, we've got onions in here, pasta. I cannot tell you what's in the peanut sauce because it's a top secret recipe, but it's really good.
Definitely don't want to ask you to forfeit any special recipes at all. Well, as somebody who's had a fair share of camping, a little bit of backpacking, I can say I would be more than happy to have that as my dinner versus other things I've definitely had on trips like that. So,
well, good.
Looks great. Meg, thanks for sitting down with us and showing what you're working on.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So I am so excited to introduce you to Joe and Jamie with Post-Stray Caramel. Joe and Jamie are actually joining us via Zoom from Asheville, North Carolina, where they're located. So thanks for chatting with me today.
Hey, Tim. Thanks for having us. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So first of all, tell us, so you owned a restaurant in the Pacific Northwest, and then a few years ago, you came out here to Asheville, North Carolina, and ended up starting this caramel company. Why don't you just tell us, what was that journey like for you?
Kind of wild. We moved back to the east, to Asheville, because a family member of mine was sick, and it just made more sense for us to move. We owned a restaurant in the Pacific Northwest. It was pretty easy for us to sell that in a good economy and make the move out here. I'm from the South originally. My wife, Jamie, business partners from Southern California, but the move just kind of made sense to help support family. We wanted to stay in the food business. We were retired.
Ready for a change.
Yeah, we retired after about 6.5 years of running a restaurant on our feet, constantly doing all the cooking. It takes its toll on you. Great years, but we're ready to start a new life and have a family, which we do now here in Asheville. So.
That's great. And how did you end up? So you moved to Asheville. I think you were kind of like looking for that next step. How did you end up with doing caramel specifically as your next venture?
Yeah, good question. We were one of our signature desserts had caramel sauce on it, so we did like a chocolate gâteau with salted caramel sauce, and everybody loved it. I could never take it off the menu, and so everyone's like, "You have to bottle this sauce," and I'm like, "Yeah, in my spare time." So we decided once we moved up to Asheville that would probably be a good step. Try to make a business around making caramel, and that's what we did. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so you started with the caramel sauce, but you've created several products. Can you tell us about some of the different products you make?
Yeah, I'll jump in. Yeah, so this is the caramel sauce in question right here, kind of the flagship that we started with. And then we make some chewy caramels as well, which come in bags, and I'll show you some gift boxes in a little bit. And then we also make lollipops. I don't have one of those handy right now. So kind of everywhere from like liquidy sauce to hard candy lollipops, all with a very caramel focus. Clean ingredients. We don't use any corn syrup. We don't use any kind of fillers or preservatives. We sweeten only with cane sugar or natural honey. So you're never going to find anything funny in our caramel. And that was kind of our commitment. The same thing we held true to in our restaurant, always the best ingredients sourced from local farms and the waters all around where our restaurant was. We wanted to do the same thing here in the mountains and find some producers that we could work with. Even something just as simple as sourcing an organic dark chocolate that doesn't have any soy in it. Kind of hard to find something that doesn't have soy less than. So we kind of wanted to go that extra mile to make our product stand out.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, I've finally gotten to try your product, and I have to say it definitely lives up to the hype that I've been expecting for the last several weeks. So what are your goals going into? Obviously, holidays is big for caramel and any type of candy, really. Goals for going to the holidays and ultimately your vision for the company, going in 2021.
We have a new line of holiday packaging.
New line of holiday boxes. So goals for the holidays, because we're dominantly a fourth quarter company for sure. Sales. So anybody who needs caramel gifts, get in touch with me. But no, in all seriousness, it's been an intense, crazy year, and a lot of people have been personally affected by the pandemic. And it's affected our business for sure. So part of us being so interested in taking part in CoLab's program was that we knew we needed to make some pivots. A lot of our business was in-person trade shows, going to Christmas shows, going to things like that, and selling and sampling, all those things you can't do today. So we knew we needed to make some changes. We had always wanted to focus more on our B2C and B2B online business to grow that. And so this program's been a huge part of us doing that. And that really kind of leads right into 2021 goals, is to continue to grow those sales channels. And also we certainly wouldn't leave wholesale behind. Wholesale's our bread and butter. But it has certainly taken a hit with a lot of the small businesses that have closed this year. So continuing to grow that, but paying more attention to our online presence and basically forming that much more of a close relationship with the consumers that love our product, and being able to kind of have some more back and forth with them, share more recipes, more ideas.
Yeah, well, that's great. I mean, it's been a pleasure working with you all through the program. I'm excited to see where you go and to continue, obviously working together in the months to come. So thanks for just hopping on here and chatting with me for a few.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, CoLab. It's been a fantastic experience, and we will look forward to finally an in-person meeting in Chattanooga with everybody.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, I'm so excited to introduce you to our next founder, John Emig, who is the co-owner of Alchemy Spice. John, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, glad to be here. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, so just want to talk a little bit about what led you to Alchemy Spice. You and your brother Henry co-own this business together, and you both have kind of backgrounds in finance. Kind of tell me how you went from that background to where we're at today running a spice blend company.
Yeah, sure. Gosh, that's a big question. I think it all revolves around opportunity and seeing so many different moving parts of an opportunity coming together. Henry and I have always wanted to co-own and operate a business together, small business here in Chattanooga. And we've been kind of looking around for a company and looked at a lot of different ones. Alchemy Spice came on our radar, and we knew it had a great product. I mean, a fabulous product. It stands alone and stands for itself, and a great brand that everybody knows and loves. So those two things in itself were amazing opportunities. And then the timing. We were looking for something new, something manufacturing based that we could get our hands into and start creating and having a lot of fun doing it as we move forward. And then also the opportunity to grow the business. And so we saw that with Alchemy Spice Company and the opportunity to really roll up our sleeves and try to take it to the next level, all the while really paying homage to the blends themselves, and just having a lot of fun doing it. So there's a lot of opportunity that we saw, and we're really excited moving forward to see what comes next.
Yeah. And so what is, you're talking about growing the business, what has kind of been your customer base / who do you really see your ultimate customers as for Alchemy?
Wow. So that's a great question, and you always have to know who your customer is. We believe our customer spans the ages from your early 20s to, people into the retirees, people later in life. The one thing that we find that throughout gender, age, and locale is that people want a great meal. They want to have a fabulous meal that almost is transcending and saying that this isn't just food. It's a meal, it brings us together, we have fun cooking, and they want it to taste really good. But the fact is, and the problem is, that everybody this day and age is super busy. They want to have the time to cook a great meal, but they don't always have it, right? So we see ourselves as that partner in the kitchen for the everyday chef, the home cook, who doesn't have all the time in the world, doesn't have the time to shop and get every little ingredient they need. But they know when they pick up our spice blend that when they put it in with their dish, it's going to come out tasting great.
So I see that you brought one of your spice blends here today. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that's great. This is our Italian spice blend. That is one of our most popular blends. It's fabulous. It is a all-natural spice blend. That means there's no additives, no caking agents, gluten-free, allergen-free. And this, along with the other 23 unique spice blends that we do, are all ground freshly and blended freshly. And so that it gives you that aromatics, the flavor that is just tip-top.
Yeah.
So that's what we brought today. It's one of our favorites.
Yeah, and I understand you're in the process of rebranding, which obviously kind of brings maybe some new focus to the business. What's your kind of vision for Alchemy Spice, heading into the rest of this year, the holiday season, and going into 2021? Where do you really hope to take the brand?
Sure. It's another great question. We really have looked hard at the brand, the name, everything. It is a fabulous brand and stands alone. We wanted to take a look at the overall labeling, image, and just think about positioning it as a very clean, beautiful looking label that really draws the eye in, is easy to read and to understand without losing that feel and fun and premium overall experience with the brand. Our visions and our goals for 2021, man, we've got a few. But I would have to say for the consumer facing side of the brand is really trying to grow from our e-commerce platform on our website to our retail channels throughout the country. Being able to sell into different retail outlets and grow that exposure, but all the while still really building our presence direct to consumers through our e-commerce side. And I think we can do that through a number of different ways of drawing more and more attention to us. But we really would like to start expanding more and more out of Chattanooga and really trying to grow more of a regional presence this next year.
Great, yeah. And speaking of those distribution channels, where are some places that people can find your product now?
That's a great question. We are in Pruitt's up on Signal Mountain, have been there for a long time. Whole Foods. We are in Ace Hardware's here locally in Chattanooga, locals only gift store. Olive Chattanooga, a great olive oil company here. Mm-hmm. And let's see, Plum Nelly, Venerous Antiques, and a Market on the Mountain up on Lookout. Mm-hmm. And man, I know I'm forgetting a few, but if they come to me, I'll let you know.
Yeah, well, it sounds like there's a great number of places people can buy, and that's great, including online as well.
Including online. So we would love for people, even if they are buying directly from a store, to just come online and sign up for our newsletter, because we're always throwing out great stuff and information on the company and just great content, to also promos and one-time offers. So we would encourage anybody to come visit us on our online store.
Yeah, absolutely. And what are, maybe to close out, some connections or any level of support you're looking for from just the broader community? I mean, are you looking for expand those retail relationships as you mentioned? Is there anything you just specifically want to point out?
We would love to talk with any retail outlet here in Chattanooga where it makes sense and it is a good fit as a product for their space. We would love to talk with anybody who has an idea about how we can potentially approach a contact of theirs. We're open to a lot of different suggestions, but also if there's a contact anybody in Chattanooga knows in this area or regionally, we would love to talk with them. We're really interested in talking with distributors to boutique retailers and gourmet kind of marketplaces. Mm-hmm. So if anybody has any contacts, we would love to reach out. It would be a great opportunity for us, and really looking for that.
Awesome. Well, John, thanks for sitting and chatting with us about these products you have, and I know that the community has definitely appreciated them for several years, and excited to see where you and your brother take the company.
Well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate being here today.
Awesome. Thanks, John.
Thank you.